Good morning, Harefield. I'm going to speak a bit about Psalm 24 with an emphasis on revival. It follows on from what Dave was saying the other day about personal revival. And as many of you know, I have a real heart for revival. So when Dave spoke on that, my heart leapt for joy and I started to think about it afresh. Many times I've been praying for revival and seeking God for revival, and I often think kind of what Dave said. God says, I'm looking at you. I want to revive you, Mark. So with Psalm 24, it was a psalm that was really used in the Hebridean revival. A number of you may have heard about the Hebridean revival in Scotland. It's 1949. And Duncan Campbell said that the Psalm 24 was one of the real keys in the outbreak of revival. And that's one of the reasons I want to speak on Psalm 24. And as I've studied it, I've seen that in it, there are some keys, there are some things that we can really learn concerning revival. So if you have a heart for revival, you're saying, oh Lord, revive me. I feel a bit dead. I feel a bit spiritually asleep. I hope this will really help you. So let's start with the first couple of verses. The earth is the Lord's and everything in it, the world and all who live in it. For he founded it on the seas and established it on the waters. See, it's the Psalm of David. And David starts by declaring God is Lord over all the earth. That he is creator and sovereign over all of it. And I think that's where our personal revival starts, by recognizing God's sovereignty and his lordship, that we should bow the knee, we should put God first in our lives and really surrender over to God and his lordship. So I think that's the kind of first lesson that we can see from Psalm 24. And obviously that is a very good start, just to declare that God is God and he is the Lord over all. So let's go on to the next bit, verses 3-6. Who may ascend the mountain of the Lord? Who may stand in his holy place? The one who has clean hands and a pure heart, who does not trust in an idol or swear by a false god. They will receive blessing from the Lord and vindication from God their Saviour. Such is the generation of those who seek him, who seek your face, God of Jacob. See, in this section, if we're going to be revived, really we need an encounter with God. We need to meet with God, because it is God that revives us. We can't revive ourselves. And many will say that kind of encounter is a mountaintop experience. And I felt a number of times that the Lord has given me a kind of picture about that he is there on the mountaintop waiting for us and saying, come up higher, come where I am. And I think that's kind of helpful. And if we're going to go up to the top of the mountain, we're going to have to leave all the junk at the bottom of the mountain. You'll never get to the top of a mountain by carrying a whole load of baggage with you. I mean, if you've done mountain climbing, and I have, and I'm sure there's a number of you as well that have done mountain climbing, you need to go light. You need to just go with the bare necessities that you need. But here God's kind of saying to us, we need to come with clean hands and a pure heart. We need to get rid of the sin in our lives if we're going to meet up with a holy God. That made me think of Hebrews chapter 12, which said, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles, and let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us. Yes, if we can just shed off that sin and get off those things that hold us back, all those things, whatever it is, then we can run. Or that'll be fantastic. We can just run up the mountain to meet with God, or all this is in a spiritual sense, or we can run into the presence of God, all the things that have entangled us with. And we're going to have to wash our hands. We're going to have to clean ourselves up and ask God to clean us and come to God with right motives. He's talking about a pure heart. So it's just a right attitude, a good attitude as we come to God. Now, I have this book on revival. There it is. It's highly recommended. And in that, it talks about the Hebridean revival. And it talks about using the Psalm 24 in the revival. And this was the account of it, which I thought was helpful. So one night, a young deacon rose to his feet and read part of Psalm 24. Who may ascend into the hill of the Lord? He who has clean hands and a pure heart. The deacon said, it seems to me just so much humbug to be waiting as we are waiting and to be praying as we are praying if we ourselves are not right with God. He lifted his hands to heaven and cried, O God, tell me, are my hands clean? Is my heart pure? He fell onto his knees as did the others. Something in the spirit realm broke, and the awareness of God began to grip the community. God broke through. That's fantastic. That's just awesome. That him crying out to God in that way about his hands and his heart, his sin. Is he right with God? And something gave way. So fantastic. Let's read the last 3 verses. Lift up your heads, you gates. Be lifted up, you ancient doors, that the King of glory may come in. Who is this King of glory? The Lord strong and mighty, the Lord mighty in battle. Lift up your heads, you gates. Lift them up, you ancient doors, that the King of glory may come in. Who is he, this King of glory? The Lord Almighty. He is the King of glory. See, these gates were originally referring to the gates of Jerusalem, because the background of this psalm is when the Ark of the Covenant was coming into Jerusalem, and they were celebrating that it was coming in. So with the Ark of the Covenant, they thought that the presence of God was coming into Jerusalem, and that was the background. But as I read it, and I was thinking about it concerning this topic of personal revival, I just felt the Lord saying, let me come in. Let me come into your life in my fullness. I mean, we've all, I hope, received Christ. All of us are born again believers listening to this. But I think he was just saying, let me in some more. Don't just let me in a bit. Let me in my fullness, into your life, into your heart. It's like letting the King of glory come in his fullness into our lives. Because revival is having sort of an increased measure of God in our lives, and letting that King of glory come into us. And we're going to hopefully go from one degree of glory to the next. And that really is what we hope or want. Also, this made me think a bit about the song that I love by John Legend, All of Me. There is a line that says, give your all to me and I'll give my all to you. And I've really felt that really sums it up. And I felt that sometimes with God. He's saying, look, Mark, give your all to me. Give your whole heart. Give your whole life. Give everything. And I will give my all to you. I will give you my presence, my fullness, my glory. And I hope that helps you to sort of really understand where this is coming from. So personal revival is giving our all to God, making him first, giving him our whole hearts, getting rid of sort of kind of junk and hindrances in our lives, and receiving that kind of blessing and fullness from God. So, church, I hope that helps you to think about personal revival. I hope that stirs your heart to say, Lord, will you revive me? Will you stir me up afresh? Will you draw me closer to yourself? So, bless you. I pray the Lord keep you safe, and hope to see you again soon.